Wait, what? 7 outdoor objects?
Exactly, 7 outdoor objects I never saw before moving to America. I don't know what it could be because in our daily life we are seeing thousands of objects maybe, and they are claiming that 7 outdoor objects that they never saw before moving to America. And I think we are in India and there are many rare kind of objects, but what is he going to show? It's gonna be very curious. So let's just not guess it and let's get into the video.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos Britain and America lost in the pond. And speaking of lost, I'm starting to lose my marbles being in quarantine so long and being here for now, I think it's 8 days. I've been giving some thought to some of the things that I miss about the outside world. And you know, I'm not just talking about sort of fast food joints that are different in both countries, but sort of just really random mundane objects. You know, like a wheelbarrow, for example. I'm not suggesting we don't have wheelbarrows in England. That's an example of a mundane object. I want to talk about specifically 7 of those objects that I haven't seen until I moved to America.
Okay. Steel water towers.
I'm really longing for those water towers, steel water towers specifically, because we do have water towers in Britain, but they're concrete and look really brutalist and like they were made in the 60s. In America, all across the country, they have these kind of water towers that are they're in the middle of nowhere usually, and they're made of steel, and on the facade of them, they have the name of the town, and it's usually something like Snakesville. And you never see anybody near them or in them. I don't know what they'd be doing in them, perhaps replenishing the water. I don't know how water towers work. I just know that America has a lot of them, and you see them when you're on the highway, motorway, just like our next entry.
Highway billboards.
Yes, highway-based billboards. Who would have thought? I certainly wouldn't have until I moved to the United States. And that's because we don't really have them in Britain. We do have them in city centres, but you're not going to find them on the side of the road. You know, because it's distracting, especially when it says something, you know, profound like Jesus has risen. You're going to take notice of that and, you know, crash into the car in front
I have
of
a
you.
question here. Is he trying to say that we are on highways and we are on, you know, a high speed and then we are not able to see the billboards?
See the billboards, yeah.
He's
that's his
complaining
point.
about that.
Yeah. And in Britain, I think so. He's saying it's on the side of the road. Like you can read over there, but you cannot read like.
Yeah, I guess in the cities they are available, but not on the highways.
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Actually, it's nice.
And if you don't have insurance, then you are screwed. Ironically, a lot of the billboards are for insurance, so at least you know who to call. I joked a moment ago about the kinds of things you might see on American highway billboards, but the truth is, anyone can really get an ad on those things. They often say, advertise here if there's nothing on it. And unless you have A, no heart, and B, a death wish, you also wouldn't want to crash into the back of one of these.
But in India, we have.
Yeah.
Yellow school buses. I didn't grow up here as a child, so of course I never got to ride one. Probably never will, unless I become a bus driver or a parent on some sort of school trip. Do they do that? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, growing up, I did see school buses, yellow school buses, in films like Superman and Forrest Gump. Those are just examples of films.
Yes.
But you know, I didn't think they existed in real life. This was quite a revelation to me. They're everywhere. You know, it's not just in Indiana where I lived. It's also in Chicago. It's everywhere. I mean, you do see these yellow school buses everywhere. And I recognise that the majority of my audience is American, and this is probably profoundly weird to hear somebody talk about how yellow school buses are very widespread in this country. But I don't think they're used anywhere else in the world, or at least to my knowledge. They're certainly not used in Britain. I used to get to school by jogging. That's not true. I did take the bus, but it was one of those sort of stagecoach buses.
Okay. I think he's kidding, because in India we also make these jokes, like our parents say us, that we used to go school by crossing rivers, by swimming.
Yeah, like from the mountains and
And he's saying that he goes to school by jogging. Maybe he lives nearby.
Yeah, maybe. But I think so. Yellow school buses are like very, very common. Like the bus, if the bus has a yellow color, that means it's a school bus.
Exactly. It's an indication.
Yeah.
Double-decker, so I've got to sit on top, not at the back with the cool kids, you know, at the front actually, and but they weren't yellow, and I as you can see, I like yellow, and wearing this in solidarity with the school children. I'm not, it's the first thing I found in my wardrobe. I'd be lying if I said that yellow school buses were the only outdoor object that I learned through the films. That also applies to our next entry.
White picket fences.
White picket fences, the like of which you see in the film American Beauty and other such suburban-based films. It reminds me of suburb now that lives near enough. But for the longest time, you know, it was just part of the sort of movie set for me to make something look very pristine and idyllic and all of that. You'll occasionally see white picket fences here in different parts of Chicago. They're kind of rare, I suppose, but you do tend to see them at houses of families who've really taken care of their garden. Okay, and in Britain we don't have these kind of fences. A lot of our gardens are sort of framed off by brick walls or sometimes just shrubs.
Exactly, I also think because the people who has
interior and exterior.
Yeah, I think the people who has, you know, these nice bungalows and houses on grounds, and I have seen these US and UK roads. They are very beautiful, and in India we don't have these white fences, and I was actually, you know, surprised because we only saw it in movies and they are very, very beautiful.
Yeah. We also don't have backyards, so no kind of fences.
Only
You also
rich
see
people
in the
has
US
big backyards.
mesh fences around gardens as well. They're kind of low down, you know, they're just high enough that dogs can jump over them, but never do because they're too stupid. And they seem like they're there to just sort of stop people from breaking in. Especially those fences that have beware of the dog on the side. Now please, America or anyone watching this, don't take this as a green light to think you can go and burgle people's houses in Britain. They still have security measures and fences too. I'm underplaying it, but we don't have white picket fences. We also don't have
I think
these.
white picket fences are
Front yard mailboxes.
Allow me to clarify, our houses do have mailboxes in the United Kingdom, except our mail doesn't go into a mailbox, it goes into a letterbox. And our mail is called the post. Hope that was clear. And those letterboxes are usually on the front door, right? So letterman or postman, that's letterman is a
Yeah, the postman. We know
postman, post women, post people, right? They have to go right up to the door and become intimate with your house. Not so in the United States, or at least not always. You will have those kind of houses where just in front of their garden or yard, they'll have a mailbox that's sticking on kind of a pole, and there's just this tube, I suppose, a metal tube into which you put things, and then people have to go out and get it. I suppose it does promote exercise, which is needed in these quarantine days. We just don't want to come into contact with the post people or mail people. It doesn't matter what you call them; they're the same entity. Well, they're different people. You get the point, basically. Don't touch the post people. And if you do, wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap, making sure not to get your water from one of these.
Wow. Cylindrical
I'll tell you a story. When I was
that?
19 years old, I was a big gamer. I was well into video games. And one of the video games that I played was a little game called Die Hard with a Vengeance. And you're just swanning around New York City, I think, probably, and you can crash your car into just stuff.
I would
right?
like to say a point on that. I was also a kid. I used to play this GTA Vice City game, and even now also I play. And you know, they have, I only do one thing. I take random cars, I kill people, and there are these fire hydrants on road, and we used to crash it out there, and it was so satisfying. And you have this whole, you know, huge water kind of thing, and it was used to ooze out of it.
Wow.
That's what I guess he's trying to talk about.
So interesting.
One of those stuff was a fire hydrant, a very American looking fire hydrant that looks like this. They're more or less cylindrical, speaking of pitch that only dogs recognise, and I only describe them as that to differentiate them from fire hydrants in Britain. Fire hydrants in Britain are nowhere near as sexy, and believe me, I didn't think I'd wake up today and say that either. They're just these brutalist looking square things with an H on them, and no, they're not for landing miniature helicopter, nor do they signify a hospital. I actually don't know what they do. If a fire breaks out in the middle of the road, when does that ever happen? I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know how to operate these things, right? Who does? The experts. Whereas American fire hydrants are absolutely gorgeous. They kind of look like elongated fireman helmets. Was that on purpose again for the benefit of the dogs? It can't have been, and I'm absolutely certain I wouldn't have made the correlation had I not been stuck in here for 8 days. I'm going mad. You know, how does the outside world look right now? Do people still have wind chimes? Do they still, you know, do they still raise these? The American flag. And I suppose there's a very good reason as to why I didn't encounter this until I moved to America, and it's because it's America's flag, you know, so that makes total sense right off the bat. I think in Britain, pound for pound, we probably, or at least when I lived there, didn't fly the flag, the British flag, as much as America tends to fly its flag. It's very culturally ingrained to do that, isn't it? My in-laws do it, everybody does it, even educated fleas do it. That would be impossible. They don't have the strength to lift up fabric. but they're bloody smart, hence being educated. I don't know how I got sidetracked there, but yes, the US flag is absolutely everywhere. Again, this is not
Everywhere,
just
yeah.
something you'll
No
see
doubt.
in films, and I think there's an understanding that Americans are deeply patriotic / patriotic. How do you pronounce it? Let me know in the comments below. And it's not just outside of people's houses that you'll see these flags. You'll see them on the back of trucks. You'll see them
Yeah.
hanging on sort of company buildings.
Anywhere.
Don't know why I pronounced it like
Everywhere.
that. And just sort of everywhere. I mean, it really is everywhere. Sometimes you'll see absolutely huge American flags, and you can usually see them for about 5 miles away. That way, at least you know what country you're in. And so
Yeah.
that's it. 7
Just to remind
outdoor
you again
objects
and
I
again.
only
You're
encountered after
American.
moving to America. I just wanted to list those to remind us of what we're missing. I mean, admittedly, we're missing quite a bit more than those.
What an interesting video this was, and this guy is funny, I would like to say. And if we talk about the flags, so I think so we are quite familiar with that, because Americans are obsessed with the flags. Like I've seen, like my sister lives in Tennessee, so even in her DP she was taking her photograph, there was this bag, on the bag there was this flag of America. So we know that, and these were like, these objects were very strange. And also the mailbox, also we don't have mailboxes in
Yeah.
India. Like we have postmen, but we don't keep any mailboxes outside.
Actually, the mailbox part was very different for us, because I have also seen in movies that they have these small little mailbox on the front outside of their door, and the postman just comes and slide into it. And I have seen in, I guess, Tom and Jerry, it reminded me
Yeah,
of that
yeah, I've
cartoon.
seen, yes.
They just slide into that mailbox and they used to get out of it, but it was quite fun to watch. And also I love that fence one, because
Yeah.
I guess it is not for safety, it is more for the lawn is looking good, the ground is looking good. That's why it is the reason, or maybe it can be anything else. So you guys only let us know that I was correct or not. So let me know, what do you think about this video in the comment section below. So do like, share and subscribe. Bye.